Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Show, my 2024 NBA Trade Deadline Predictions Show. Should be an interesting 24 hours. I am going to make predictions team by team, and then we'll see what comes into fruition. We're going to start with the Atlanta Hawks. My prediction is one that is reported that it's likely not to happen, but sometimes those trades end up happening. I predict that they trade DeJounte Murray to the Los Angeles Lakers in a three-way trade with the Brooklyn Nets. The Hawks get a 2031 Lakers pick and a 2027 Philly pick from Brooklyn, Dennis Smith Jr., and then going to Brooklyn, D'Angelo Russell, Taurean Prince, and a 2020 or 2032nd rounder from the Lakers. I think that Russell back in Brooklyn may do him wonders. That's where he played the best ball of his career. Him and Mikal Bridges together would be interesting. And then they have themselves yet another asset. The Boston Celtics will acquire Danilo Gallinari from the Detroit Pistons for a 2032nd rounder. Gallo was on the Celtics before. It's just a good fit there. The Brooklyn Nets will trade Dorian Finney-Smith to the Utah Jazz for Luka Samanic and a 2029 first-round pick, or 2026 first-round pick, and a 2029 second. It's reported that someone offered 2 firsts for Finney-Smith, but I'm not buying that at all. Samanic and a couple of picks isn't bad with a second and a first. The Charlotte Hornets, the team will buy out both Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward. I just think both those veterans need to be on good teams. The Chicago Bulls will acquire Monte Morris from the Detroit Pistons for a 2028 second rounder. That's not a bad guess of a trade. The Cleveland Cavaliers will acquire Zach Collins from the San Antonio Spurs for a 2026 second. They need a backup big. That makes sense. The Dallas Mavericks will acquire Jeremy Grant from the Portland Trailblazers for first-round picks in 2027 and 2031 and Josh Green. I think that's a nice package for Portland for Jeremy Grant. And Dallas gets himself another versatile guy that could be like a stretch 4, shoot some threes. I think he would fit well with Luka and Kyrie. The Denver Nuggets will acquire Doug McDermott for the San Antonio Spurs for second rounders in 2025 and 2026. Sharpshooter, good three-pointer. Pretty much what Denver needs. Detroit trades Bojan Bogdanovic to the Indiana Pacers for Aaron Nesmith in the 2028 first. Pacers are going all in. I like what they have. They'd have Bojan, then they'd have Siakam and Halliburton with their young guys. Not bad. The Golden State Warriors will acquire C.D. Osman from the Spurs for a 2029 second. C.D. Osman's been in big games before. They need like a three-pointer off the bench kind of guy. The Houston Rockets will trade Reggie Bullock to the Los Angeles Clippers for a 2030 second-round pick. I don't hate that trade for the Rockets or the Clippers. The Clippers need a guy that could come off the bench and hit some threes. I think Houston's going to realize that they're really not going to make the postseason, so if I'm them, I'd trade some veterans. The Indiana Pacers, my prediction for them is that you'll hear Obi Toppin's name within the next 24 hours, but he won't get dealt. Obi Toppin's in another situation like he was in the Knicks again. That's what happened with the Siakam trade. I think he should have went to Toronto in the deal, but Indiana chose to keep him. Maybe they throw him in the Bojan trade, but I think Obi Toppin is just unlucky that he's just losing a lot of playing time. Like, he gets traded from the Knicks. Knicks only get a second back for him. And then Indiana, he barely gets playing time there, and they acquire Siakam, which decreased it. So we'll see what happens with Obi Toppin. The Los Angeles Clippers will acquire Matisse Thybulle from the Portland Trailblazers for a 2024 second. That's from another team that they're supposed to get. I like the idea of Thybulle on the Clippers, and then it's kind of like a Sixers reunion there with him and Harden and PJ Tucker. The Los Angeles Lakers will acquire Bruce Brown from the Toronto Raptors for Cam Reddish and Max Christie. No picks. 2 for 1. 2 young guys going to the Raptors. And then you have Reddish and Barrett reunited again. And then Bruce Brown to the Lakers, which is a good swing guy for that team. The Memphis Grizzlies will trade Luke Kennard to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the 2031 first. I think Kennard is somebody that has value. They just traded Xavier Tillman to Boston, which is a good fit for Boston for a couple of seconds. And I think that Kennard on Minnesota would be a good fit, whether it's a sixth man or starting with Ant-Man and Conley and Towns and Gobert. That would be something. The Miami Heat, I don't think they're going to do anything big. I think their move was Rozier. Maybe they're in play for Gordon Hayward, but I don't see it. The Milwaukee Bucks will acquire Landry Shamet from the Washington Wizards for a 2027 second-round pick. I like that one a lot for Milwaukee. They need another guard that can score off the bench. The Minnesota Timberwolves. My prediction for them is the Kennard deal. I just think that they need some more scoring punch, like preferably off the bench. Kennard just makes sense for that team. The New Orleans Pelicans. They're going to be that team that we're going to be talking about, oh, they could have done something. What happened? And then it's going to be reported, oh, they came close to trading this and this for this. I don't know who would be involved and what picks would be involved. Maybe they're going to be reportedly close for Bruce Brown or reportedly close for Jeremy Grant. Oh, Grant wouldn't make sense for them, but preferably someone like a guard or even a point guard. Like Tyus Jones would make sense for New Orleans. You know what? That's where I think he lands. I think he goes to New Orleans. And maybe for a lottery-protected first rounder. I could see that. So let's do that. Tyus Jones to New Orleans for a lottery-protected first. Excuse me. The New York Knicks will acquire Malcolm Brogdon from the Portland Trailblazers for Quentin Grimes in the 2025 first. So for the second year in a row, I have them making a trade with the Blazers. And this time for the guy that beat out former Nick Emmanuel Quickley for Sixth Man of the Year. This makes a lot of sense. Brogdon's a good player. Good two-way guy. Makes sense on this Knicks team. As a bench guy that can get you buckets. Oklahoma City will acquire Clint Capella from the Atlanta Hawks for Alexei Pokusevich and a 2026 first rounder. Capella on OKC makes a lot of sense. Shot blocker is a guy that's been in big games. They need a big, and they're a team that could be a team that could win the West. So why not go for it if you're Oklahoma City? The Orlando Magic. I'm going to say that they trade one of their veterans, whether it's Markelle Fultz or Wendell Carter. And I have a funny feeling that Golden State is going to be involved here. They're a team that could use an upgrade at center. And I think that's a interesting landing spot for Wendell Carter. So I'm going to say Wendell Carter to the Golden State Warriors. I just have to look up the draft capital here. That Golden State has. So Golden State I guess they could trade a 2029 first. They do owe a lot of first round picks out. So I'm going to say a first round pick, I guess 2029. The future draft thing is not loading right at this second. So the Philadelphia 76ers, they're obviously in a tough spot and beat out. But if I'm them, don't throw in the towel. What if he's back sooner than expected? So if I'm Philadelphia, do not throw in the towel by any stretch of the imagination. I know they're looking at guards. Brogdon would be interesting there. I have him going to New York. I think Bruce Brown would be interesting there, but I have him going to the Lakers. But I'm going to say they get Bogdan Bogdanović from the Atlanta Hawks for a future first. I don't know what year. I just don't have the thing in front of me. Here we have picks. So Philadelphia, they have a lot of owed picks. So 2030 first rounder for Bogdan Bogdanović. And maybe a second rounder in there too. So there you go with that. And then Golden State will send their 2028 first to Orlando for Wendell Carter. Phoenix, they're kind of stuck. I have a feeling that the Suns are going to sign Kyle Lowry. I think they're going to rig it somehow. They need a point guard to get some pressure off of Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. They need a real point guard. But in Lowry's case, he could come off the bench. He doesn't have to start. So I'm going to say that Kyle Lowry to the Suns, and they'll find out and figure out how to make that work. Next is the Portland Trailblazers. I've done a lot of predictions for the Blazers. I have them trading Grant. I have them trading Brogdon. I can see them making a futures move by trading away Robert Williams, even though he's out for the season. And the place I could see that being OKC, but I also could see that being a next year move for them. So, I could see him going to the Hawks, Robert Williams. I could see the Hawks trading for him. I could see Brooklyn trading for him if they trade Nick Claxton. But you know what? I could see it being Memphis as like a next year with Ja type of move. So I'm going to say the Grizzlies get him Williams. And then Portland gets back 2026 first. The Sacramento Kings, I think they're going to do it finally. They need Kyle Kuzma. I think they're going to overpay to do it. That just makes the most sense. They'll put him with Fox and Sabonis. And I think they'll trade a 2028 first, a 2030 first, and a 2029 swap. That's what they're going to trade to get Kyle Kuzma to Sacramento, finally. The San Antonio Spurs. That should be a team that should get Tyus Jones, personally. That makes a lot of sense. But I also could see the Spurs taking a chance on like some of those Pistons guys if the Pistons want to hit the reset button a little bit. I have them trading McDermott. I have them trading Osman. But I really cannot see them trading anybody else, though. So I'm going to say the Spurs stand put, and it's disappointing for Spurs fans and Victor Wembanyama. The Toronto Raptors, I think they're going to trade Gary Trent Jr. I think that he makes sense on a lot of different teams. And I think he could come in and be like a swing for somebody. I could see Minnesota after him, Oklahoma City potentially. Both LA teams, the Knicks, the Celtics, Philly. And I think Philly, ironically, makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to say Philadelphia could very well be the team that gets themselves Gary Trent Jr. But another team that could use him is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I haven't really had any Cavs predictions. So I'm going to say the Cavs get him for a couple of second-round picks. The Utah Jazz, I have them getting Finney Smith from Brooklyn. That's a team that could make a surprise. Holy crap. This team's coming kind of deal. They can use upgrades at some bench spots. Power forward, most notably. And I'm going to say the guy they get, I'm going to go back to the Raptors. I'm going to say Thaddeus Young to the Utah Jazz for a future second. Maybe 2029 or something like that. And then the Washington Wizards, we did the Kuzma trade. I don't think they'll trade Jordan Poole. I have Tyus Jones going to the Pelicans. But there's a couple other guys I could see them moving. I have Shamet getting dealt. And I think Delon Wright could get dealt. Maybe Gafford, their center. I could see him being dealt. And Marvin Bagley I could see being dealt too. So my prediction is that for them is that the Kuzma deal will be their big deal, and then they keep Jordan Poole for now. So there you have it for trade predictions. Let's just go around the league really quickly. We'll go from the bottom up in terms of reverse ABC order. Wiz, I think Kuzma's gone. That's my big prediction. Jordan Poole, you never know. I'd be surprised if they dealt one of the young guys like Avija or Kispert or Johnny Davis. Maybe they do trade Johnny Davis, who has been a huge bust so far in his NBA career. And I think Tyus Jones goes, obviously, as well. Utah Jazz, they're not blowing it up. I think they could use an upgrade at point guard over Chris Dunn. Or at least they could have a backup and a Keontae George start. They did just trade I forget his name. They traded him to the Pistons. Simone Fontecchio, they traded to the Pistons today. So they got that deal done. They got Kevin Knox in that trade. But yeah, we'll see if they trade any of the veterans like Sexton or Collins or Clarkson or Olynyk. And I think the young guys are safe. Kessler, Markkanen, Keontae George, obviously. Raptors, I think that for right now, Scotty Barnes is obviously safe. And then Quickly and Barrett, I think they'll keep at least through this year. But everybody else can be had. Bruce Brown, Gary Trent, Jakob Poeltl, Thad Young, Jalen McDaniels, Dennis Schroeder. Oh, and Grady Dick's another keeper, too. And then Garrett Temple, I think, will be dealt as well. The Spurs. I think Victor Wembanyama is the only true untouchable on this team. They'll keep Jeremy Schoen. They'll keep Devin Vassell. They'll keep Blake Wesley. They'll keep Keldon Johnson. I think everybody else can be had. The Kings, I think this is the team that goes all in for Kuzma. This just makes too much sense. Maybe Harrison Barnes is in that trade to go to the Wiz, and then the Wiz buy him out. And then I think that Davion Mitchell could be had as like a change of scenery guy. I think there are some other veterans on this team that I think could be dealt in a trade, like Malik Monk or Trey Lyles. I don't think they're going to trade Keegan Murray in a big deal. And then Chris Duarte, I don't see them dealing. And then obviously, I don't see them trading Sasha Vezenkov either. The Blazers, Scoot's obviously a keeper. Chris Murray's a keeper. Shaedon Sharp's a keeper. I think everybody else can be had, including Anthony Simons. The Suns, it's going to be hard for them to add. Obviously, I feel like they could be a buyout guy. I mean, I could see it being Kyle Lowry. The Sixers, I think, will try to make some moves in hopes of Joel coming back sooner than expected. But I think the only guys that are truly untouchable are obviously Joel and Tyrese Maxey. The Magic, I could see them trading Wendell Carter, which I have him going to Golden State. I think Paulo and Franz are untouchable. Suggs, maybe for the right price. I could see Gary Harris being dealt. I could see Joe Ingles being dealt. Although, this is a team that's in the mix for a playoff spot in the East, so maybe it's best that they add. But guys, I'm talking about, I'm referring to an adding as well. Like, they could be pieces going to a seller and they could be bought out, like Fultz or even Carter. Not that they would buy out Carter. The Thunder, untouchables, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. I think everybody else could be had, including Cason Wallace and Josh Giddey, in the right trade. And then the other Jalen Williams. The Knicks, they made their move with OG Anunoby, but I think they have one more in them, and I think Malcolm Brogdon's the guy. I love the idea of Malcolm Brogdon on this Knicks team. And I think he'll take Quentin Grimes and the Fournier contract and a pick to get it done. The Pelicans, they're an interesting cause. I could see them doing a lot of different things, and I could see them flirting with a lot of different options as well. I think the only real untouchables on this team are Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jordan Hawkins, and maybe Dyson Daniels. But I think McCollum could be had in the right trade. So we'll see with New Orleans. The Timberwolves, I think they're going to be okay. I think that the perfect fit is Luke Kennard with this group off the bench. The Bucks, they're kind of stuck. They're probably going to get some buyout guy. I heard some rumor about Bobby Portis and Grant Williams. That would be a fun change of scenery type of trade. The Miami Heat, I said it earlier, I think they made their move already with Terry Rozier. If they want a bigger and bolder move, I think anybody can be had other than Butler and Bam. The Grizzlies, I think, will be sellers, obviously. They already traded Xavier Tillman. I think Luke Kennard could go. I think Derrick Rose could go. And then I could see them making next year type of moves. Lakers, everybody's on the table outside of LeBron and AD. We know that. Clippers, same thing. Everyone's on the table except for Harden, PG, and Kawhi. A lot of wild card possibilities with this team. The Indiana Pacers, they made their big move with Siakam. I think they could have another one in them with Bogdanovic. The Houston Rockets, I think that's a potential seller. I could see them moving Aaron Holiday and Reggie Bullock and Jeff Green, Boban. Golden State, I have them getting Wendell Carter Jr. I think that would be a good fit for them. The Pistons today got Fontecchio of the Jazz today. They're making weird moves before the deadline, but I think some of their veterans could be had, like Alec Burks and Monte Morris and Bojan, obviously. I think Denver's in a good spot. I could see them adding some veterans, and I could see like guys like Reggie Jackson and Justin Holiday being traded and bought out. Dallas, obviously Luka and Kyrie are untouchable. And Derek Lively's probably untouchable as well. We'll see how they approach things. The Cleveland Cavaliers, I have them getting Gary Trent Jr. I just think that makes a lot of sense for them. And now that team is healthy, which is great. The Chicago Bulls, they're in the mix now in the play-in tournament in the East, so I do not see them trading any of their veterans. If anything, I can see them adding. The Charlotte Hornets, we'll see if they buy out Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward or not. I think they do. The Brooklyn Nets are a little bit of an unknown. We'll see what they do. I could see them trading some guys, and I could see them adding as well. Boston, they just went out and got Xavier Tillman from Memphis. I think they have one more small move left in them. The Atlanta Hawks, I think anybody can be out on that team other than Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. And the Kwangu, I guess, too. So there you have it for the 2024 NBA trade deadline preview and predictions show. We're going to look back on this after the trade deadline and see how I did. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.